Hi, welcome back. You're still watching Power Breakfast on CNBC TV18. Now, we've taken you through all of the global market action. But back home on the Lal Street, the Nifty and the Sensex ended 0.25% in the green in Friday's session. Nifty closed comfortably above the 11,600 mark, while the Sensex held on to 38,000. The mid-caps outperformed, rallying almost 1% in trade, while Nifty Bank saw some profit booking. Anisha Jain is now here with us to tell us all of the market cues that we need to watch out for in today's session. Good morning, Anisha.
Hi Pavitra, good morning. Glad to see you there. Well, yes, as you mentioned, we ended the FY19 with a bang because remember, in the year FY19, the Nifty has rallied 15%. Sensex is up over 5,700 points. The clear outperformer in FY19 was the banking space because Bank Nifty is up around 25%, while the mid-caps starkly underperformed because they were down 3% in the year FY19. However, by the end of the year, there was a bit of a startling factor coming from the FIIs because remember, they had been buying consecutively for 20-25 days, but on Friday we saw a net sell figure coming from the FIIs. It's a small figure of 86 crores, but nonetheless something to take cognizance of. The DIIs on the flip side bought around 1,700 odd crores in the cash equity markets. But today is the start of a fresh week, fresh month, fresh quarter and the fresh year, and it seems like we might be making fresh highs in trade today because the SGX Nifty is suggesting a start at the 11,725 mark, and remember, the all-time high on the Nifty is around 11,760. It remains to be seen whether we cross that mark today or not. But other than that, it might be Fool's Day, but I kid you not when I say it's going to be a very important week. Of course, it's the first day of the month and we will be getting the auto sector data, which will give us deeper insight into the state of the economy. Talking about the economy, we will also get the core sector data today as well as part of the PMI data. Remember, the core sector data was rather weak when it was reported last with a 19-month low number. Let's see if there is any pickup there. Other than that, there will be the listing of the first ever real estate infrastructure trust, that is Embassy, which will be listed today. And also we have the effective date of new GST rates on under construction properties. But of course, the key thing to watch out for this week will be the RBI Monetary Policy Committee. It is to be held between 2nd and 4th. The result would be out on 4th, and most of the economists on the CNBC-TV18 Monetary Policy Committee suggest that there would be a rate cut of around 25 basis point coming, while they're split in the middle when it comes to the change in stance. In fact, other than that, the other thing to watch out from the banking space is that there are a lot of big changes that are going to be ushered in from today. It is regarding the group exposure or a single company exposure, etc. So all those norms really come into effect. And also what comes into effect is the merger of Bank of Baroda, Dena Bank as well as Vijaya Bank. So keep an eye out on the banking space today. Other than that, if you're looking out for global cues, they're all positive. Dow closed with a gain of around 200 points. S&P has had the best quarter since 1998 because that one has seen a gain of around 13%. Yes, there is some uncertainty regarding Brexit when it comes to the European region, but nonetheless, they all ended in the green. In fact, US crude also has actually moved higher. It has seen one of the best quarters since a long time, but it is holding steady around that $68 per barrel mark. Asia this morning is rallying. The Nikkei was up almost 2% the last time I checked. The SGX Nifty at 11,725, and there's some positive data from China, which is aiding the sentiment as well. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much, Anisha, for joining in and giving us entire market setup. But what about stocks we're looking at today?
Well, Nigel, as I mentioned, this first day of the month, so we will be watching out for the auto stocks. Remember, the retail sentiment remains weak and the inventory is really high. So the expectation is not really high, but we'll watch out for how all these auto companies perform. Separately, a news on JSW Energy, wherein the board has decided not to pursue the electric vehicle business. Remember, they had decided to invest 6,500 odd crores, but now they say they are looking to keep this as a cushion for growth in the power sector. So let's see how that one reacts. A lot of news coming in from the pharma space. For example, for Indigo Remedies, US FDA has cleared one of the manufacturing facilities, and this one is in Goa. Other than that, good news for Dr. Reddy's as well, because the Visakhapatnam facility has been re-inspected and has been called fully compliant. Not so good news for Cipla because US FDA conducted an inspection of 3 units at its Kurkum plant, and they have received quite a few observations. So keep an eye out on Cipla in trade today. Have also been focused because they have started the commercial production of air conditioners at one of their facilities. So good news, because imported ACs have been a lot expensive. So the companies are moving towards local manufacturing. Keep an eye out on SRF and trade today, because remember, they have had to shut down the operation or at the Dahej unit, and this was the unit where they had planned expansion, and a large part of revenue was expected to come from here. So that stock might see a bit of downtick. It was already down about in trade on Friday. Welspun Corp, good news coming in for the shareholders, wherein the company has unlocked value of around 940 crores by selling off a couple of units. Titan has increased stake in Carrot Lane to around 66.4%, so keep an eye out on that. Jet Airways continues to be in focus. It is flying as of now, but the pilots have given a last date of around 15 April to settle the dues. And lastly, not so good news for Adani Enterprises, because sources tell us that privatization of the 6 airports might be a bit delayed. Back to you.
All right, time for a quick break now. Up next, fiscal deficit for April to February stands at 134% of the FY19 target. More on that when we return.